Which AWS service or feature can establish a private connection between workloads running on premises and workloads in AWS Cloud? Correct answer: AWS Private Link. Explanation: AWS Private Link allows secure, private connectivity between VPCs, services, and on-premises applications over private IP addresses, without exposing traffic to the public Internet. This ensures secure communication between on-premises workloads and AWS workload. Why others are incorrect? Amazon Route 53 provides DNS and routing services but does not create private network connections. Amazon Macie detects sensitive data in Amazon S3, unrelated to private connectivity. AWS Direct Connect provides dedicated network connections between on-premises and AWS, but it is not service-specific private connectivity like Private Link. A company needs 24/7 support, a technical account manager, and concierge service for production workload. Which AWS support plan should it choose? Correct answer: AWS Enterprise Support. Explanation: the Enterprise Support Plan includes a designated TAM, concierge billing support, and 24/7 access to senior cloud support engineers, designed for mission-critical workload. Why others are incorrect? Basic support, free tier with only documentation and forums. Business support includes 24/7 technical support but no TAM or concierge service. Developer support provides business hours support only, suitable for non-production use. Which AWS resource or service can assist a company with migrating workloads to the cloud when the company lacks AWS expertise? Correct answer: AWS Consulting Partners. Explanation: AWS Consulting Partners help organizations migrate, architect, and optimize their workloads on AWS by providing hands-on expertise and services. Why others are incorrect? Trusted Advisor provides recommendations for cost, performance, and security but not hands-on migration support. AWS Artifacts provides compliance reports unrelated to migration. Managed Services operates AWS infrastructure post-migration but does not handle migration planning itself. AWS lowers costs by aggregating usage across millions of users. What AWS cloud benefit does this describe? Correct answer: high economies of scale. Explanation: AWS passes cost savings from economies of scale to customers, enabling lower pay-as-you-go pricing. Why others are incorrect? Launch globally in minutes refers to rapid global deployment. Increase speed and agility refers to fast innovation and scaling. No guessing about compute capacity refers to elasticity, not pricing. Which EC2 purchasing option is most cost-effective for a database server that must run constantly for 1 year? Correct answer: Standard Reserved Instance. Explanation: a standard reserved instance provides significant cost savings for predictable, always-on workloads when committed for 1-3 years. Why others are incorrect? Convertible reserved instance offers flexibility to change instance type but usually at a higher cost. On-demand, flexible but more expensive for continuous workload. Spot instance, cheapest but unreliable since instances can be terminated anytime. Which AWS service can be used to add facial recognition to a user verification system? Correct answer: Amazon Rekognition. Explanation: Amazon Rekognition provides facial analysis, object detection, and biometric recognition features, making it ideal for facial identification in applications. Why others are incorrect? Poly text-to-speech service. Transcribe speech-to-text transcription. Lex builds conversational chatbots, not facial recognition. A company needs to capture logs of AWS service events and use them with CloudWatch for monitoring. Which AWS service provides this? Correct answer: AWS CloudTrail logs. Explanation: CloudTrail records all API activity in an AWS account. Logs can be analyzed with CloudWatch to monitor usage and detect anomalies. Why others are incorrect? Inspector Security Vulnerability Scanning. Personal Health Dashboard shows AWS service health impacting your account, not logs. Trusted Advisor provides recommendations, not event logs. Which AWS service allows auditing of resources and tracking configuration changes over time? Correct answer: AWS Config. Explanation: AWS Config tracks resource configurations and maintains a history of changes for auditing and compliance. Why others are incorrect? Artifacts provides compliance reports, not change tracking. Inspector Security Assessment Tool. CloudWatch for monitoring performance metrics, not resource change history. Which AWS service allows on-premises apps to connect to AWS Cloud Storage with local caching for low latency? Correct answer: AWS Storage Gateway. Explanation: Storage Gateway provides hybrid cloud storage, enabling local caching while connecting on-premises apps to AWS Cloud Storage. Why others are incorrect? Direct Connect provides dedicated network connection, not caching. S3 object storage only, no local caching. Snowball Edge physical data transfer device, not hybrid storage. A company needs to monitor and forecast AWS costs and set alerts if budgets are exceed. Which AWS tool should be used? Correct answer: AWS Budget. Explanation: AWS Budgets allows cost monitoring, forecasting, and setting alerts when spending exceeds threshold. Why others are incorrect? CloudWatch monitors performance and operational metrics, not cost. Config tracks resource configurations. Service Catalog manages approved IT services, not costs. A company discovers a high-risk network security issue during an AWS well-architected review. It wants a managed service that can enforce essential network protections across all its VPCs. Which AWS solution should be used? Correct answer: AWS Network Firewall. Explanation: AWS Network Firewall is a fully managed service that helps protect VPCs with fine-grained control over network traffic, intrusion prevention, and detection features. Why others are incorrect? Amazon VPC Network Access Analyzer used to analyze network connectivity, not to enforce protections. Security groups good for instance-level security, but not a managed firewall solution for all VPCs. Network ACLs stateless and limited, cannot provide advanced protection. A company with enterprise support has questions regarding its consolidated billing. Which AWS feature should it use for help? Correct answer: AWS Concierge Support. Explanation: AWS Concierge is part of the Enterprise Support Plan and provides personalized billing and account assistance. Why others are incorrect? AWS budgets helps set spending thresholds, not for billing support. AWS Trusted Advisor provides best practice checks, not billing help. AWS Pricing Calculator estimates costs before deployment, not billing queries. Which AWS service collects, organizes, and prioritizes security findings from multiple AWS services? Correct answer: AWS Security Hub. Explanation: AWS Security Hub provides a centralized view of security alerts from multiple AWS services and partner tools. Why others are incorrect? Amazon Inspector assesses vulnerabilities, not aggregates findings. Amazon Detective helps investigate issues, not aggregate alerts. Amazon Macy detects sensitive data, not a findings hub. A company wants to receive an SNS notification when its monthly bill exceeds a set threshold. Which AWS service should be used? Correct answer: Amazon CloudWatch. Explanation: CloudWatch can monitor billing metrics and trigger SNS notifications when thresholds are crossed. Why others are incorrect? Cost Explorer used for cost analysis, not alerts. AWS Pricing Calculator pre-deployment cost estimates, not alert. Cost and Usage Report provides detailed usage data, not notifications. A user with a business support plan needs detailed billing information. Which AWS resource is best? Correct answer: AWS Cost and Usage Report. Explanation: the AWS Cost and Usage Report provides detailed billing data with itemized charges. Why others are incorrect? Service Catalog manages approved services, not billing. Budgets track spending, but not detailed report. Concierge support for enterprise support, not business support. Which AWS service acts as a managed ETL tool to prepare data for analytics? Correct answer: AWS Glue. Explanation: AWS Glue is a serverless ETL service that cleans, transforms, and loads data for analytics. Why others are incorrect? QuickSight visualization, not ETL. Athena querying, not ETL. Elastic Beanstalk app deployment, not data transformation. A company wants durable and low-cost storage for static files with infinite scalability. Which AWS service should it choose? Correct answer: Amazon S3. Explanation: Amazon S3 is an object storage service designed for durability, scalability, and cost-effectiveness. Why others are incorrect? EBS block storage, not scalable object storage. EFS scalable file system, but costlier than S3. Storage gateway hybrid storage, not ideal for static content. Which AWS service lets you run one-time SQL queries directly on data in S3? Correct answer: Amazon Athena. Explanation: Athena is a serverless query service that uses SQL to analyze S3 data. Why others are incorrect? DynamoDB NoSQL database, not SQL queries. EMR big data clusters, more complex. Redshift data warehouse, not ad hoc queries on S3. Which AWS service provides NLP capabilities for users without ML expertise? Correct answer: Amazon Comprehend. Explanation: Amazon Comprehend is a fully managed NLP service that requires no ML expertise. Why others are incorrect? SageMaker Build Train ML Models requires expertise. Recognition Image Video Analysis, not NLP. DLAMI ML Frameworks for developers, not beginner-friendly NLP. A company runs a steady Oracle DB on EC2 and wants to save cost over 3 years. Which EC2 pricing model is best? Correct answer: EC2 reserved instances. Explanation: Reserved instances provide up to 72% savings for predictable, long-term workload. Why others are incorrect? On-demand flexible but expensive long-term. Spot cheaper but unreliable for steady workload. Dedicated instances for compliance isolation, not cost saving. Which AWS service provides a private source code repository with version control? Correct answer: AWS Code Commit. Explanation: Code Commit is a managed Git-based repository service. Why others are incorrect? Code pipeline CI/CD orchestration, not repo. CodeStar project management, not repo. Code build test service, not repo. Which AWS storage solution can transfer petabytes of data to from AWS? Correct answer: AWS Snowball. Explanation: AWS Snowball is a data transfer appliance for large-scale migrations. Why others are incorrect? Storage gateway hybrid storage, not bulk transfer. Lightsail simplified hosting, not storage transfer. Glacier Deep Archive archival storage, not migration. Which AWS service helps with security investigations and root cause analysis? Correct answer: Amazon Detective. Explanation: Detective helps analyze logs and security events for root cause. Why others are incorrect? CloudWatch monitoring, not root cause analysis. Macy sensitive data discovery, not investigation. Inspector vulnerability scanning, not investigation. A company wants to use AWS infrastructure as code to reduce human error and ensure consistent responses. Which AWS well-architected pillar does this support? Correct answer: Reliability. Explanation: IAC supports reliability by ensuring consistent, automated deployments and recovery. Why others are incorrect? Cost optimization focuses on efficiency, not consistency. Security focuses on protection, not IAC benefit. Operational excellence about monitoring iteration, not reliability. A company needs to move data between AWS and on-premises using a private network connection. Which service should it use? Correct answer: AWS Direct Connect. Explanation: AWS Direct Connect provides a dedicated private network link between AWS and on-premises. Why others are incorrect? NAT Gateway for Internet-bound traffic, not private connection. Internet Gateway Public Internet, not private. VPC Virtual Network doesn't connect on-prem directly.